Lee Harris at Limestone Title Alexis sent us an email saying that she is one day away from closing on her new home. And all of a sudden, and Randy, you may want to jump in on this as well. All of a sudden, the underwriter sent her a message that says they are denying her loan. Now, she doesn't say why they're denying her loan, though there could be some items we could presume. But she's wondering, Lee, from your end, is there anything she can do about it? And does she get a good faith deposit back if this doesn't go through?
Okay, yes, let's start there. So the good faith deposit is usually refundable to the buyer if the buyer has acted in good faith and has proceeded diligently towards getting their loan, and then for some reason at the last minute or early on, either one, it falls through. That is a contingency that wasn't met. That doesn't mean the buyer did anything wrong, and therefore the seller should not retain their deposit. Sometimes you'll have a little debate with the seller. Obviously, the day before closing, they're probably going to be upset because they feel like they've gone all the way through the process and they're probably moving or have moved.
Hmm.
As far as what happens, generally, what you see is that, and Randy can add on to this as well. Maybe somebody had something on their credit that just recently popped up, or they can't source some particular funds. They have a bankruptcy or a foreclosure or something. It seems like that would have come up sooner, but sometimes it just is late in the process. And so the underwriters have all their rules that they have to clear, and if they don't, then they can't give you a clear to close.
Yeah.
And
So
again,
with that being said, you know, the difference between a bank and a captive lender and then a broker like myself is a lot of times they have overlays. Like they'll have special things that even though Fannie Mae says, hey, this is acceptable, they won't allow it in their system for many reasons. So I would also suggest that they go to a broker and have them look at it, and they can call me about it because there's a lot of times I can close loans that a lot of companies can't because they just have what's called overlays. That's kind of the term in our industry.
and let me just add one thing, Greg, if you want to jump on this as well. One of the more common reasons that maybe the underwriter pulled the plug on the loan, maybe the buyer went and spent money or took out a credit card line for, say, new furniture or a new car, which wasn't in the original calculations, which created the problem, right?
That happens.
Yeah.
We've seen it. But is that, Lee, is that acting in good faith?
Well, that's always the
That gets,
debate. Yeah, I've seen people buy a big expensive truck or a house full of furniture or whatever, and then it totally throws off their numbers and what they can afford, and they can't any longer afford this particular payment. And if they did that knowingly or even sort of negligently, I think you're getting into the territory of not acting in good faith, because certainly if you're going to spend a bunch of money and you're tight on your numbers to begin with, you might want to ask your lender, you might want to ask, should I be getting this credit card? Should I be getting this new car payment? Whatever it might be. And so, yeah, that's always a debate with the sellers is, well, did they do something that actually made this fail? And if that's the case, then the sellers would have a much better argument to keep the earnest money.
The
Yeah.
takeaway. You go ahead, Randy.
60% of all loan officers have dropped out of the business in the last 2 years. So the ones that are surviving sometimes, and I hate to say this is a bad mark in our industry, but sometimes they're throwing mud against the wall and hoping it sticks too. So that is another problem, a big problem right now, because people are, it's a tougher market than what it has been. So people are trying to get things closed sometimes that they've not done their due diligence on as well.
I would say the takeaway, folks, is to make sure before you do anything, if you're buying a house, communicate a lot with your loan officer and
Yes.
your
And go
agent.
local. Go local. This is a spot for Randy and every local rep we have. We've had some of the bigbrand.com homes people that have recommended lenders in the past that are not local. And then we've gotten a hold of them after the buyer locally is deeply involved in looking at homes, only to find out that had we had some more vetting here locally, we would have known this person probably couldn't qualify at this level, shouldn't have been able to. And we didn't have a direct line locally to call back and forth. It was a .com. So beware where you are shopping your rates. Definitely go with a guy like Randy. They give you much more flexibility and somebody to talk to that's real.
It's very well said.
It happens a lot more than you would believe.
Oh man,
Yeah, it really does.